everyone, Tina McGlynn with Life in Stories, and today I am here with June Wallace, and believe it or not, it is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and although that is a difficult subject to talk about, I know that, June, you are heavily involved in the movement to abolish the sex trafficking of children. And I kind of want to know, how did you get started in such a really tough situation?
It surely is a tough topic to even broach. Who does not shrink away when you talk about a topic as tough as this with children involved? It actually got started when I was with the Seroptimus Club in Largo, and I was delivering bookmarks, loves me not bookmarks, to the Hispanic services in Clearwater that was very near the Clearwater Police Department. And she said, these are absolutely wonderful, June, because it's so clear and so easy for people to look at and understand what domestic violence is and why it happens. And when you do a presentation to those that have been domestic violated, they can look at the Loves Me side of those bookmarks, and it describes all the ways that people say they love you, but then you turn it over on the back, and it points out some of the ways that, for instance, doesn't want me to talk with my relatives, and just doesn't let me
go anywhere
without him. And or and it doesn't say him, it's very
not gender neutral.
Gender neutral is right, and we're noticing that need to be gender neutral in human trafficking as much as that. So anyway, Sandra Leith of Hispanic Services in Clearwater pointed out that she had just started working with the Clearwater Police Department on trafficking, human trafficking, and that these would go just as well with people who are being trafficked as people in domestic violence situations.
So I guess a story like probably maybe a teenager or young, very young adult, or who is being trafficked because the person trafficking them is professing to love them, and then you need to do this if you love me type of a thing. Is that where
pressures
that kind of
me to have sex on the no side?
Got you.
And just yes, it's really the same clues
as domestic violence.
They are the trafficker or the person who procures for trafficking will put pressure on to be the dominant person and control everything about that. It's all control.
Sure. No, I imagine it must be, and some psychological component to it.
Right. Sandra, at the same time, invited me to the first meeting that the Clearwater Police Department were having because they had it had just been announced that they were able to get federal funding for the task force, the human trafficking task force. Unfortunately, that federal funding cut off again in 2013, and so we're right now starting up with several different task forces, independent task forces, and trying to get them to all join back together, over these years. But at that time, it was very close to the time that very close to 2009, and it was about 2008 that the St. Petersburg Community College, it had already turned into the St. Pete College.
SPC. I graduated from there. I got my bachelor's there.
Did you really?
I did,
Yeah.
Yeah, I finished my bachelor's there, yeah.
Very cool, and they had started training law enforcement.
Oh, okay.
Jeremy Lewis, who was St. Petersburg Sheriff's Office. He was a deputy. He had already gone to one of those trainings, and I had gone to one of those trainings just because I got interested in the topic. And then when they had their grand opening of the Clearwater, Tampa Bay Area Task Force on Human Trafficking, that was the federally funded one, Jeremy Lewis had as a deputy for the St. Pete Sheriff's Office, had identified one of the girls in this case that came before them. He had seen the signs of human trafficking with this girl.
Oh, okay.
And she had run out of the strippers, a stripper place in Clearwater.
Oh, okay. The
That,
gentleman's club, okay.
And she'd run out and was yelling, I want to get out. They won't let me. They keep me here. Da 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 da.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then the deputies had brought this girl back into the sheriff's office. She had been there before with drug addiction.
Oh,
she
okay.
had really gone berserk with the drugs. Well, come to find out, after we got it all said and done, these traffickers had 6 girls, and they had rented this what is now a multi-million-dollar house on Treasure Island, and had all of the bedrooms, girl for every bedroom, with a lock on the outside of the door.
Oh, my.
And
okay.
they had these big limousines that they took the girls in the late afternoon to this supposedly a gentleman's club, but
Okay.
the newspapers said it was a strip club.
Okay.
And apparently they had rooms there, that side rooms that they could have their girls, sell the girls in.
Oh, jeez.
And then they would bring them back in those 2 big stretch limos and get them in the rooms, and they were sex trafficked all night long. And they had it was a beautiful neighborhood, and none of the neighbors knew anything about it.
Wow.
Nothing.
Wow.
And they knew one neighbor 2 doors down lives in Sun City Center now, and I talked with her, and she said, I don't know why none of us could spot that,
Mm-hmm.
because she said the one thing that they wondered about is that they would bring they had all of the girls around the swimming pool, and they would take one in the swimming pool, and it was like, they were trying to teach them something, and they couldn't tell what it was
Got you.
from where they were. Well, come to find out, what they were doing was holding the girl under until she was near dead, because she hadn't made her quota that night before.
Oh, wow.
That was the big case that broke, the sex trafficking loose in the Clearwater, Tampa Bay area.
So in other words, if it can happen in your neighborhood, think about where else it could be happening.
Yes.
Okay,
And
sure.
So we had that task force was Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough counties.
Okay.
We had difficulty getting the other counties to buy into it, and it just didn't seem to gel, and then eventually it folded because there wasn't enough. Not that they didn't do a lot of cases.
Okay.
Not that they didn't bring a lot of cases in and rescue hundreds.
Okay.
But that was where I started with them, and they asked me to start the campaign against human trafficking to support them, support their work. They were trying to go all over and do their speeches of all the Rotary clubs and churches, and
to get people engaged, and hopefully a movement to stop this from happening.
Right, and
kind of like to see something,
they had to have
say
more
something.
people involved who could go out and make presentations, and who could start services for the and that was
victims.
very successful, starting these shelters, and we have quite a few of them now. We're still lacking in the under 18 sheltering, but that's very sad. Bridging Freedom had started then, and they finally did this past year get a shelter in Pasco County for underage.
Great.
But it's very slow and very tedious because they need so much.
Right, and that takes children. A lot of people. You've got to have social services, you've got to have, medical and mental health and education and all sorts of stuff to kind of get them back on the right
Absolutely.
road. So you gave me something about Tampa teens protecting students from predators.
Thankfully, the Florida Department of Education made a ruling in September of 2019 that said that schools in the state of Florida must provide prevention education in all schools from kindergarten through 12th grade.
Okay, similar to stranger danger type of education, or
that doesn't work with
okay.
human trafficking. I'll tell you why, because the traffickers very often are right in the same household.
Oh, yeah, sure. There was a horrible case about a mother who was trafficking her daughter. You see that a lot. Mm-hmm. Or a family member. Yeah.
Stepdads are really,
prevalent.
Prevalent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
sad.
tough. Yeah.
That's sad. So, and I will put this information up at the podcast.
Tampa Teens was started by, facilitated by a retired teacher named Mary Chris Pederica.
Okay.
And we just had our the little Zoom meeting that she and I have weekly, and talking about it. She now has on the Safe and Sound Hillsborough website.
Okay.
We have the 4 videos that this group of teens that she had worked with for, what's the other big, bullying. She had worked with for bullying when she was teaching.
Okay.
And some of them now are already started in college. Some of them are, but several of them are still in high school.
Okay.
And they've made this wonderful, because everything is virtual.
Right.
So,
Sure. Yeah.
So we were concerned about the the lack of decent stuff to go
yeah.
with that ruling.
Sure. That makes sense, because if you're going to have regulation, you definitely have to have a good program that people can facilitate, and that there's some absorption of the material, or else you're kind of just spinning your wheels. A couple other things you brought me.
Just
go ahead,
a
yeah.
little more. One more note on Tampa teens. They this is done by the teens.
Okay. Peer groups?
The teens are. It's peer to peer.
Okay, peer to peer.
That's
okay.
why the Department of Education loves it.
Yeah, sure.
They have given it their blessing, and any teacher can go in on that website, and all the rules are there, and how to do it, and if they would like to have one of the teens come and just kind of help it along.
Okay.
But each one of the PowerPoints on those videos has one of the teens talking about it, and the very last one is so important that they've done, and they've made it into a PSA.
Okay.
It says having your trusted adult can be, empowering. And no, it's knowing the facts can be empowering.
Sure. Yeah.
But having a trusted adult can be life-saving.
Sure.
And that's the message.
Yeah, that makes perfect
sense. Because so many, once they get the information, it's difficult for them to interpret it for themselves. When you have an older boy talking to the ages are 11 to 14 are the average ages of these children that get pulled in, and so they need to have, and they need to identify, the minute they get this information, they need to find a trusted adult and identify them and talk with them to say, that, and get them educated so that they can work with them.
Okay, that's great.
That PSA is just so amazing.
Yeah, we'll put all the links up when the podcast, when I post it. So I want to talk about Renting Lacey, a story of America's prostituted children. And I'll put it again. I'm sure she has a link. So how did you come across this book? Is this something where, if you're involved in trying to reduce children's sex trafficking, that you a must read, or?
Well, it's what the retired teacher that facilitates the Tampa teens. What she said was, "I appreciated the education you gave me, June, but I didn't really put it together until I read Renting Lacey."
Renting Lacey. Okay.
That is done by Linda Smith, who was...
she founded Shared Hope International.
Yes,
Do we have a Florida chapter?
Shared Hope. I'm just going to tell you that we now, the campaign against human trafficking for this Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough County is now the free network. And the free network from Shared Hope, they came here from Vancouver and taught 47 new Shared Hope ambassadors for this area.
Oh, great.
With the free,
Oh, that's
they're
wonderful.
all in the free network,
Okay.
and they can, they're available to present and and then these videos are available, and their website, the Shared Hope website, you can go in there and get videos about the internet. The Tampa Teens videos are all about, I say all about, 95% of it is about online.
Well, because that's where
Prevent.
that's where this age group is spending most of their time.
That's where it is. That's where the predators.
Yeah.
And guess what? With so many more people, more youth on computers and having Wi-Fi that they never had before, like in Waimama.
Anywhere. Yeah.
The whole village, nobody would believe me when I said they don't have Wi-Fi up there. And the school system found that they had to install, all that capability. So you've got all these fresh young people with computers, and you cannot go surfing without finding something really bad.
Sure. No, we were just going over the FBI figures, and here you mentioned, I know this was even a few years ago, that all the minors that are rescued and the traffickers that are arrested, and saying that 100 children per day are runaways, throwaways, homeless children, and 2 out of 5 would be prostituted. And now it doesn't even have to be out in the open, right? So much of this is because of online access. It's hidden away because it's not like a child is walking up and down a street. You don't need that. There's these deals are done on the dark web, or even open websites using code words, from what I understand.
It's there. I mean, it's in Facebook messages. It's we are really working to pass the what they call the Earn It Act in U.S. Congress, and it's because the pornography is so accessible. It's not just on the dark web. It's
all
right
over,
there.
right? Yeah.
Porn. What was the name of it? Porn. I can't remember.
Was
the
that the
name
Pornhub
of the,
situation? The Pornhub that people were finding child pornography on it, I believe.
Yes, but the name of the company is Pornhub.
I thought it was Pornhub when I read it. Yeah.
Yep.
It was all right there, and
they're in Canada, and it's all over the world. And when the COVID first hit, guess what they did? They gave away their services free for a month. So they, I know that you work with people who have been addicted to drugs, and of course, drugs are the first thing that they use to make these
children compliant.
Yep,
and then get them hooked too. It's a way to control them.
Well, guess what? Getting hooked on porn is harder to get over than it is to get over a drug addiction,
a substance abuse. Yes.
Yeah, it's just pathetic. And when you're a child and you get hooked on porn, your brain, as it's developed, changes, and you can lose and very easily the sense of right and wrong.
Sure.
And
that makes sense.
Because
you get jaded.
Your brain follows your eyes.
Yeah,
You get so addicted to it, you lose the ability to make good decisions.
Yeah, that's with
Right and
anything
wrong.
that's nefarious. So I didn't want to skip this book, Invading the Darkness Inside the Historical Fight Against Child Sex Trafficking. So this is another book by Linda Smith. So unfortunately, because we're not doing a whole lot, or we need to do a lot more about this, she's obviously had to put out another book. So what is the perfect scenario, or what is it that these groups need the most to get to a point where you can reduce the instances of sex trafficking of children? I mean, what is it that we're missing? Is it awareness? Is it caring about it? What is your biggest hurdle, would you say?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, education, awareness. I mean, once you really, if you read these books, Invading the Darkness tells about for instance, it tells about the huge case many years ago, and I wish I could remember the date, but where Ernie Allen, the founder of Missing and Exploited Children website,
Okay.
where he was first getting into it and found this huge case of I don't know how many boys that were sexually abused and killed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I mean, who knew? Everybody thought it was girls.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Okay.
I know what you mean now. Yeah, no, right. And it's not. It's not gender specific. And then especially with I think with the Jeffrey Epstein case,
Absolutely.
that has to kind of bring, as nefarious and horrible of a situation it was, at least it brought some sort of awareness, I'm hoping.
Yes.
That
Yes.
there are, powerful people out there that, were trafficking. And even though his situation, I believe, were girls, there are other situations where, yes, they are boys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was a case in Pinellas County where this a couple of men had older in a trailer, in a trailer court,
Okay.
had two young boys in there as sex slaves.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh,
I remember
And-
that. And you're
well,
wondering how is it they
we
can't
have,
escape?
The USIAHT organization has the first in the nation a boys sex trafficking shelter in Tampa Bay now.
Oh, wow. Good.
And we're so fortunate to have that, just as we are with the one with children. But if you just know a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
that's not quite enough. I really feel that if we could get everybody to read Renting Lacey,
Mm-hmm.
it would tell how easily, if we could get everybody to go on to the Shared Hope website and look at the story of Chosen, and there's Chosen Gang Edition. There's so much trafficking coming out of gangs.
Oh, okay.
And we know that locally we have a lot more youth gangs than you want to think about.
Sure, I've heard that before. Yeah, because of my work with the Kate Foundation.
Yep.
So would you say, so for people, the biggest thing people
get on
can
the
do
Shared Hope website
is to learn about it. So
and
basically,
to really
to
learn about it, because once you learn it, you can't erase it from your mind,
Sure,
and you
no.
will be able to help. You will see all the signs. We have so many organizations. The Free Network has a website, and there are all kinds of leads there.
Okay.
And if you go to that Safe and Sound Hillsborough Tampa Teens
Yep.
website and look at those videos. They're short. They're not that long when you don't have to pause for the children to raise their hand
Yeah.
or text the answer to the leader. But it's there, and it's for your edification. And if you have a child anywhere in your
or grandchild or what have you,
or a grandchild, a niece or nephew, it's this needs to
be
this
addressed.
is a need to
Yeah.
know.
No, I
This-
agree. Yeah.
It's just like domestic violence.
Yep.
You need to know.
Yep. Yeah. The difference, between that. Thank you for coming today, and we'll get all the information as we post a podcast. We always put links so that people can follow up with what they want to know, what they need to know, and then how they can help.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you having you today, June Wallace. And let's hope.
I want to thank you for inviting me.
Well, let's hope that there can be some sort of inroads to reducing, this.
And
this
you know
situation.
where to call me. So if anyone wants to follow up with me personally,
Yeah,
be glad for you to
Yeah,
give
I'll
me
add your
email.
email. Yeah, that'll work.
Give 'em.
That'll work. Well, this has been Life and Stories, not the most pleasant story, but one that needed to be told. One that unfortunately happens a lot, and there will be a lot of talk because we have the Super Bowl again in Tampa. So there's going to be a lot of media talk about human trafficking. Maybe not at the levels of pre-COVID, but it's still going to happen. And so hopefully some task force can rescue some people sooner than later. And again, thank you, June. And this is Tina McGlynn for Life and Stories. We'll see you next time.